Hello, Central Strong, aka Kiddo Central. I'm back on my podcast. I'm happy to be back, and I would say this was something that I definitely want to work on this year. So far, it's been improving. I've already done one episode this month, and here I am with a second one. But this episode is about being sensitive. Now, many of us, I know I has been called sensitive more than once, probably for several things, several situations, several occurrences. And a lot of times people call us sensitive like it's a bad thing, but there's actually good things about being sensitive. And I will definitely dive into a couple of the good things during this podcast episode. And I want to first tell you that being sensitive is not a curse. It's not a bad thing always. If you're overly sensitive, it can be bad, but being sensitive isn't a bad thing. In some instances, it's actually really good. And a lot of times when people call you sensitive, they're just as sensitive as you, if not more sensitive. And a lot of times people do that to gaslight you and to get you to stop defending yourself or stop holding those people accountable, holding them accountable for the things they know that are wrong, that are not right, that are judgmental, and they get annoyed because you're standing up for yourself and you're holding them accountable for something they know that isn't the right thing to say or do. So the first thing I want to jump into is that being sensitive makes you very aware. It makes you very aware of what to do, what you're standing up for, who you are, what you want, and it just makes you aware. It makes your mind open. It makes not just your mind to stay open, but it makes you alive. It makes you human. It makes you stand up for something somebody else doesn't want you standing up for, something somebody else doesn't stand up for themselves, and it just makes you a leader. Hey, I don't like this, I don't like that. If it's something somebody's doing directly to harm you, like if they're calling you names or they're trying to take something of yours without your permission, you have the right to be sensitive towards what you want and how you want to be treated and how you want to be talked to. And you have the right to tell that person, hey, I don't like how this is being said, or I don't like what you're saying about this, or I don't like what you're saying to me at times. Can you please stop? And sometimes your reactions, that's what determines the sensitivity. That's what determines not just being sensitive, but being expressive and expressing things with wisdom. A lot of times people think they're sensitive. When people call people sensitive, they might think you have ignorance. But if you say something not correctly, but say something respectfully and say something with kindness, and you're still standing up for yourself all at once, that is called being sensitive and being expressive. It's not just being sensitive. You're expressing yourself, you're standing your ground, and at the same time, you're not downgrading someone else while you're doing that. An example, let's just say someone call you ugly, and they keep calling you ugly for like a week, and they just looked at you. Every time they look at you, they would just look at you. You won't have anything wrong. You won't have no dirty clothes on. You don't have any facial expressions that you're showing on your face that would make you look worse than what you normally look. There would be nothing about you at that time that would make an average Joe call you ugly. And every time they see you, they just say you're ugly. And one day you probably just had enough of being insulted, and you pull that person on the side and you tell them, hey, I'm not ugly. Can you please stop calling me ugly? Do you like it do you like it when people call you ugly? Would you like it if someone called you ugly? If you wouldn't, please stop calling me ugly. Treat me how you want to treat yourself, because we're both human beings. We both bleed the same colored blood. We both have the same insides, the same feelings. We both are humans, and we both live on this planet together. We are human beings that are living creatures, and we want to be respected like we matter. So out of respect, I'm asking you kindly, can you stop calling me ugly? Please. And if you say that, that's not being sensitive. That's being expressive. That's actually expressing yourself and standing up for yourself all at once. Now, if you start losing your mind and you throwing things and breaking things and screaming at the top of your lungs and acting bananas, then that's when someone will call you sensitive. And in a sense, that is a bad side of sensitivity. That's the bad side of it. But if you tell someone and stand up for yourself, and you tell someone respectfully, hey, I don't like what you're doing, can you please stop it? You tell that person, it doesn't even have to be direct right then and there. You can wait some time. You can message them on Facebook. You can get called their cell phone, text them even, or you can just tell them in their face. But if you express yourself respectfully and with kindness and with common sense, that's not being the bad sensitive. That's being the good sensitive. That's being, honestly, heroic, in my opinion. That's being brave. You're standing up for yourself even when someone else is going to ridicule you. Not ridicule you, but try to talk about you and try to judge you for doing so. So if you're like that, keep that up. Now, there are some times, I want to say this before I jump into the second point, that there are times where you may not be able to stand up for yourself right then and there, or there might just be times where you just have to you just have to let stuff slide off your back like water. You can't go against every single person that ever said or done something you don't like, or you'll be fighting and arguing with people 24/7, 365, all the time. But if you have the moment and you have that chance, and it's something that has happened more than once, more than likely, yeah, I would stand up for myself, and I wouldn't care if someone called me sensitive. Because at the end of the day, I'd rather be respected and be called sensitive than be disrespected and not called sensitive at all. So secondly, up next, I would say being sensitive makes you empathetic. You would know how a human being feels, and you will see things from a different point of view, or at the same point of view someone else sees it. If you watch a movie and there's a sad scene and you cry, that's not being weak. That's being human. You can relate to what you're seeing in that movie. If someone say, oh, you're so sensitive, you're crying over this movie, it's not even real, those type of people are typically messed up inside. I'm not trying to sound like a judgmental jerk, I promise, but I'm trying to get you to see what these people are like. And honestly, they've probably been mistreated multiple times in their lives by so many people, and they act like that they're robots, and they act like they don't have emotions. Really, they do. They probably have it more than you. They just try their hardest not to show it, but deep down inside, it's eating them up inside, and they probably want to blow up like a bomb. But if you're like that, it's okay to cry. It's okay to be expressive. It's okay to walk out the room and say, I need a moment to myself. Something really hits home when I watch this movie, or when I off a scene that I saw in this TV show, or if something has been said at some extent, no matter where you're at, it's okay to walk out, have a moment, take a deep breath, and really just be alone and relive that moment. It's okay to have a sad moment in life. Sad moments, several sad moments actually, in this life. And it's okay to think about it, feel what you're feeling, and then afterwards, letting it go again and continue on with your life. You're not going to always be sad. You're not going to always be down. But moments like those, it's okay to express that and let it out. Don't let it out destructively and harm other people that, of course, done nothing to you, or probably done little to you and may not even mean to be harmful towards you. But if it's okay to express how you feel, walk away, and really have a moment to yourself. That's healthy. And that's a positive side of being sensitive. Thirdly, and lastly, I'm just going to touch the 3 points on this. Being sensitive makes you mature. It sounds backwards, A lot of times when people think of sensitivity, they think about immaturity, but it makes you mature. And not only it makes you mature, it kind of makes you more wise. Because when you're sensitive, you're going to probably experience more stuff by expressing your side of what you feel and what you believe than just letting it go, not saying anything, and always being that person that takes stuff to the stomach and never, ever, ever speaking up about anything and just pretending that something's okay, pretending that something's gonna sit right with you, pretending that being disrespected is just fine, and you're a tough person, pretending to be this macho tough person that you really aren't. It's way less healthy doing that than just expressing how you feel. And it makes you more mature because you would begin to see that when you stand up for something that you believe in, there will always be someone that would go against it and not like it. And there will always be someone that would find some type of explanation that makes no sense really. It will just make sense to them per se. That would describe why you shouldn't be the way you are. And really, you will start really growing from experiencing those things with those people. Or you're going to start seeing through lies. You're going to start seeing through BS. You're going to start seeing through a lot of stuff that you might not noticed until you spoke up or done or stand up by doing something towards something or towards some situation that you have with some person that you didn't like, that didn't need to happen because that person was being mean and rude and they couldn't handle it from the start a different way. It will make you more mature because you'll know how to deal with people, you'll know how to speak to people, you'll know how to deal with situations, and you'll know what corner to turn, what direction a topic or a discussion is going to go before it even goes to that direction. And you'll know how to intervene things, you'll know how to stop things and stop arguments and intervene with arguments and withdraw from arguments even until it's time to speak to that person and you know that that argument isn't going to escalate to something else. And when it's time to speak to that person, they know too that that argument more likely won't escalate to something worse than just a verbal argument. And it'll just make you more self-aware. You'll realize that you mainly have your back more than anyone else, and how you feel and how you view the world may only be how you view it, and no one else may never fully understand that other than you. They can probably relate to it, they can probably understand some of it, but 100% will only be understood by you. And that would make you true to yourself. You're not going to lie to yourself. You're not going to pretend that something's okay when it's not. And sometimes you have to pretend things are okay. You have to fake it to make it. Sometimes you have to take disrespect. Sometimes you have to take stuff to the chin in order to get further in life and to get into a better position in life, because you're working with that boss, or you're working with that person that will give you what you need. But you have to tolerate their BS and you have to put up with it for a moment or two, or some moments. But I'm here to tell you that you shouldn't always put up with it. If a boss is being mean to you every day, all day, there might be a moment where you have to walk in that office and tell that person, yo, I've been tolerating this for so long. May I speak to you real quick? Because this has happened and I really, really want things to improve. And it also would make that person aware of how you feel, and they might look at it from the inside out, and truly, they might actually change their ways. They might actually start respecting you the way you want to be respected, and they may never even knew that what they were saying or doing was wrong until you said something in the first place. They may never have thought that it was wrong, and they would never figure it out unless you spoke up and you stood up for yourself. And based off of you standing up for yourself, the next people after you, that person is going to be more respectful towards those people. And they're going to know that what they said and done to you before you stood up for yourself wasn't okay. And they're going to know from here on out with the next people they interact with, they're not going to act like their old selves. They're not going to be that old jerk that they used to be. And that would have never been a thing if you never stood up for yourself. And that's what I mean by maturity. It will make you grow and will help the people that you interact with grow as well. I really mean that. So really, being sensitive is not always a bad thing. And when someone say you're so sensitive, they're just trying to gaslight you. And they're trying to make you something you're not. Now, if someone's wearing a bright orange shirt and that makes you upset, that's something that you shouldn't really confront someone about, because that shirt isn't harming you. It's not harming them. If you don't like the shirt, just don't look at the shirt. You know, that's not harming anyone. This is just an example of something you shouldn't be sensitive about. If it's something that is literally not harming a single soul, you shouldn't be sensitive about it. If someone wants piercings, that shouldn't bother you. Unless it's your kid or your daughter or your son, I can see why it might bother you. But if it's a random stranger, let them live their lives. If someone wants to be homosexual, it's not bothering anybody and they're being that way towards someone that's okay with it, these are things you shouldn't be sensitive about. Because at the end of the day, everyone has the right to live the way they want to live, as long as it's not harming them or harming anyone else at all or harming anyone around them. They got the right to be who they are, and so do you. So I'm here to say, those are things you shouldn't be sensitive about. But if it's something someone's doing directly to you, and it's something, and it's something that's obvious, that might be intentional, yes, you should speak up and you should stand up for yourself. And some people might be like, hey, I don't have any bad intentions. Even if they don't have bad intentions and it's still the approach of whatever they're bringing to you is disrespectful, or what they're doing, the actions is disrespectful, and they don't mean any harm, you still should say something. Because even though they don't mean any harm, they're still causing harm. It's like someone causing a car accident. They hit somebody with a car by accident, and it's an accident, and the person in front of them that got hit by that car got a concussion. They didn't mean it, but it still caused harm. That's something, I'm not saying that person should get punished with an iron fist, but there might have to be some type of penalty or some type of punishment or some type of fee they have to pay, so they could be more mindful of how to drive next time, or be more mindful of when to drive next time, so the next person doesn't get a concussion just like the person they hit at first. You know, and I'm saying this because a lot of people say, I don't mean any harm. They're still causing harm. And even if they're causing harm, they don't mean it and they don't know it, you probably should still bring it up to them. Because even though they may not intentionally mean what they're doing, it's still happening. So those are the biggest things for being sensitive. It's not a bad thing. Don't listen to people when they say you're so sensitive, and it's something that is literally happening to you. Whether it's someone actually bumping, let's just say you're sitting in a seat, whether someone's like tapping your chair and it's annoying you, and you're turning around and telling them, hey, can you stop doing that? It's a little annoying. Whether it's a friend that tries to make you like some type of human punching bag, and they're verbally making jokes about you, that's very unkind and unnecessary. Or rather, it's like your dad, and he's always yelling at you, he's always giving you a hard time for every little mistake that you make. No matter what it is, you have the right to tell that person, hey, this is something I'm not okay with. Can you try a different approach? Can you try a different way of talking to me? A different way of expressing how you feel? A different way of bringing whatever you're bringing to me? Because the way you're approaching this, or the way you're progressing with this, the way you're executing this, isn't okay with me. And you should tell them why. And when they figure out why, that will also help them changing their ways and helping you getting what you want. It will help you be the person that you want to be. And it'll help them be the person that you want them to be. It will help all y'all all at once. Because not only you're learning about them, they're learning about you. So really, being sensitive is not a bad thing. I'm going to reiterate that before I stop this podcast. I pray that someone, whoever listens to this, everyone who listens to this even, gains something positive, gains something good from this, and grow from this. That's my intentions. And yes, I'm sensitive too, but I know who I am. I know I'm a winner, and I know my sensitivity got me to places that not being sensitive wouldn't have got me. And it got me to a lot of good places. Let me say that. So be true, be strong, be you, and yes, be sensitive. Don't be too sensitive, but be sensitive. Thank you, and I hope you have a blessed night.